Hi, this is Kristen with Create with Kristen. Today I wanted to show you how to make a baby tag blanket. I really love these. I love them as gifts, and this one I'm actually making for a friend who's having her 5th baby. I wanted to make sure that I was making a basket that would show her that I cared about her and loved her, but also wouldn't create clutter or anything in the house. I wanted to make sure it was things that she would use, that she would find useful. So I talked to her and got the type of fabric that she really liked so that it can be themed to what she loves. This is the great thing about creating your own gift baskets, is they can be themed to the colors and the things that the person really likes, which makes it very personable. Obviously, that's the point of most gifts. So with this one, I love that it has tags all the way along the side. Babies love to chew on tags. I don't know why. My daughter had a blanket that she chewed the tag almost right off eventually over the years because she just loved to chew on a tag. So this one's nice because it also has a clip, and I like to be able to clip anything to this. A soother, a chew toy, anything that you can find that they can clip it to. You can clip it to the car seat strap or to the bar hanging over, so that during that throw it on the floor and make everybody pick it up stage, it doesn't get there as often. But if it does, you can wash it, you can throw it into the laundry. I really like that. I love that it's soft on one side, so you use whatever material you like that is nice and soft. So to start, you really don't need much. You don't need a pattern or anything like that. You just need to cut out 2 squares of fabric. So you'll cut out 1 square of your base fabric, the fabric that you're going to use for the front. So whatever you're coordinating your basket with, or coordinating the gift with, or if you're just making your own thing. So 1 of these, and then you will need 1 of your soft minky or fleece fabric. You will need 16 pieces of ribbon that are 4 inches long. I will link all of the measurements down below so that you know what you need. But for this point, 16 of these. They can be all different kinds. So I chose several different kinds of ribbon for this one, but all in white. Sometimes I do a lot more colors or all different things, but I really wanted to keep this kind of sophisticated, and it already has a pretty busy pattern. So I kept it simple, but you can do whatever you want. You just need 16 pieces. And then you will also need a rectangle, and this is for the strap. You'll need a piece, either a piece of Velcro as well, or a plastic or metal snap to secure this around. And now that's it for starting. So what you will do when you start is take your ribbons, fold them in half, and pin them onto your first fabric. With the face out, you'll pin the sides like this. And I'll show you a diagram of this, but basically you're going to pin it all the way around. I chose to do 4 on each side because this one is about 12 inches by 12 inches. So I chose to do that all the way around, but you can do however many you want. You can make them different lengths if you want. These are all 4 inches, but you can make them shorter, longer, whatever you would like to do. It's your project. Be creative. Then when you're done this, we're going to move on to the sewing machine. You're going to sew with about a 1/4 inch seam allowance, so not very much, along each of these ribbons. You just want to reinforce them, and it also makes it easier when you're attaching it to your fleece. I just go forward, then back to tie the knot. So always go forward and back when you're starting to tie the knot, and then go to the end of the fabric, or to the end of the ribbon, couldn't remember that, and then back and forward again to tie it off. So you're going to do that for all 16 of these, and then we will meet. So I'm going to line up my fabric with my pressure foot here. So that's going to give me a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then when I start, I'm going to go forward and then back, tie the knot, and then forward to the end of the ribbon and back, and forward again to tie the knot. So you're always starting with a forward and back stitch and ending with a forward and back stitch. So you'll do that for all 16 of the ribbons, and then we will meet back and we'll put it all together. Line up your set of fabric so it's laying face up with the ribbons out like this. Then lay down your fleece on top, again keeping it as exact as possible, lined up with the bottom fabric, and then pin it. I like to pin it on the ribbon, and you're going to want to pin it all the way around. Once you've pinned it, we're going to go to the sewing machine and sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around, except for about a 4-inch spot where you're going to leave it open so that you can flip it right side out. I like to start near the edge, but not quite on the corner of the fabric, so that when I come back around to the end, I can just end it and leave that hole open to flip it. So line your fabric up to the throat plate here, which will have a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Line it up to that and then start sewing. And when you get to the corner, we're going to do something a little bit different, maybe, to make sure that we have sharp corners. Okay, so I've gotten to the corner. I'm going to leave my needle down, lift up the pressure foot, turn it halfway, and then just move my wheel manually to do 1 stitch. And then I'm going to turn it all the way and line it up with the edge of the throat plate and start going again. So what that 1 stitch will do is it just makes it much sharper when you're turning it right side out. Now that you've sewn around, all the way around with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, let's flip it using that hole that you created right side out. So sometimes you might want to trim along the edges. I don't think I need to do that today, but if you're finding that your corners aren't coming out really nice or it's really bulky around here, you'll want to do that. So we'll just flip it all the way. And now with these corners, if you're finding that they're not sharp once you've turned it around, you can use a pin to just pull them right. And I'll show you what I mean. You'll just take a pin and kind of pull it out like that, and make it a little sharper. Now that we've turned it right side out, I do like to iron it, but you don't have to. I do like to, it just makes it easier. Then I'm going to pin all the way around, and we're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around the blanket. So let's do that. Now when you're pinning it, remembering that you do have a hole here, so what you want to do is fold that over and make sure that you are lining it up exactly when you're pinning it, because you want it to look seamless with the rest of your blanket. So pin that portion as well as all the way around your blanket, and then we will head to the sewing machine and do a 1/2 inch seam, or a 1/4 inch, sorry, seam allowance, the whole. I like to start with the area that we have the opening, just so that I know that it gets done and I know where it is. Line up your seam allowance. So you're going to line your pressure foot up with the edge of your fabric, and that will give you a 1/4 inch. And then we'll just go all the way around. And being mindful of this part especially, that you're trying to line it up so that it looks even all the way and doesn't have like a little bit of the fabric over top of the fleece. You want it to look really finished. So do this all the way around. Remember to go forward and then back at the beginning and forward and back at the end to tie off the knot. and I will meet you back in a minute. Now that you've sewn the edges, your tag blanket is done except for the strap. So let's do that now. You can take your piece of fabric and fold it in half, line up the edges. You can press that with an iron and then pin it. And we will sew it with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So remember to line it up exactly. You can put the pins in all the way. If you don't line it up exactly, it is not going to be a rectangle and it's going to look pretty funny. So definitely do that. Now we're going to head to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew from about the middle here all the way around to here, and then back from here all the way around to here. I like to leave this little piece open so that we can easily turn it right side out. So I'll meet you at the sewing machine. I'm starting just off the middle, and I've lined it up to a 1/2 inch seam allowance. You can do a 1/4 inch if you want. We're going to sew again all the way around from this point onward, and then we'll come and start over here and go this way. You can trim off the edges if you want, and then turn it right side out and press it nice and flat, and then we'll sew it. Now that you've turned your piece right side out, take the opening, and you can iron this shut if you want, and make sure that it's flush and looks the same all the way around, and then pin it. And then you'll sew it with a 1/4 inch seam allowance the whole way around. To get a 1/4 inch, you can line up your fabric with the inside of your pressure foot. Now that you've sewn your strap, we're going to put it onto your blanket. Carefully measure where the middle of your blanket is, and then pin your strap onto the middle. Now you're going to just sew it on by going back and forth a couple times across here. And if you are doing Velcro, you may want to put the Velcro on before you put the strap onto the blanket. It might be easier. But I'm going to do snaps, so I'm not going to do that part. Now that you're done, your strap, you just need to put either Velcro or snaps on. I use this little snap gadget and plastic snaps. You can use metal snaps, whatever you want to do. I got this at Walmart. I think you can get it in most places. I know Michael's carries it if you have a Michael's store in your area. And I think that you're going to love these though. I just love how cute they turn out. And I'm going to put them in a whole basket, like I said. So once I've done that, I will share with you what I've put in that basket and links and everything to all of the tutorials and all of the patterns. This one's nice because you don't need a pattern. You can just make it any size you want. So if you want to see something, please let me know. Send me a message. Let me know what you want to see on this site. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.